về các cái chính sách về thương mại ở Hoa Kỳ và trên toàn thế giới, và đặc biệt là đất nước láng giềng của Hoa Kỳ đó là Canada, và cũng dự đoán một số những ý kiến của chuyên gia về ảnh hưởng của những cái chính sách của Trump sắp tới lên chính sách định cư của Canada. Thì hôm nay Columbus rất là hân hạnh có ông Nicolas Laurin là chủ tịch của Eterna International, là đối tác lâu năm và tin cậy của Columbus cho các cái chương trình định cư vào Canada cũng như là các quốc gia khác trên thế giới. Thank you, Nicolas, for being here today and sharing your opinion about Trump selected.
Right.
Yeah. So the first question that what is a general ideas from yourself about immigration perspective since Trump got the option?
Well, Trump's election brings a certain level of uncertainty about several aspects of our business of immigration. It has an impact, of course, on American immigration, but also has an impact on the immigration in Canada, because one country's decision will necessarily impact the other country's situation. So in the case of Trump, a lot of discussion have been to restrict the H-1B visa access to some countries. You have also the suspension of refugee policy that also basically limit a lot the admission into the US, and as a result, people who had in mind, skilled workers who had in mind to go to US under a certain visa program are now looking at Canada as a plan B, right? The direct result is an increased amount of queries about Canada immigration, and ultimately probably an increase of application under the Express Entry Skilled Worker Program to Canada. The timing, however, is not the best, because Canada has also acted on its immigration policy and has decreased substantially their immigration level. So basically, the door that was wide open for many, many years has now closed. Not completely, but the entry has reduced substantially.
Oh, so which means that I was saying now that Trump is like close, like open a very tiny door for immigration, and Canada also do the same. So what is that you think that for both US and Canada in the next 4 years of Trump terms, that which kind of program going to be like stay and get the support from that two governments?
Well, Trump is a transactional person, as everybody says, so we should look at programs that will be perceived as benefiting American companies at first. So we don't see an opening of family related programs or refugee program in the coming 4 years. There were a lot of discussion about eliminating the H-1B visa, but he was convinced that this program would benefit American companies, so this program has been maintained for the time being. Other programs such as EB-5, which is also benefiting American companies, we do not see a change in this policy, at least until 2027, and in 2027, optimistic people will say that he will maintain this program, although, of course, it's very unpredictable. When it comes to Canada, Canada is entering very uncertain economic time due to discussion related to the tariff that Trump wants to impose. This, if imposed, will have significant economic impact on Canada. If there is a tariff in Canada, unemployment will rise substantially, so the need for temporary worker will diminish. So decision taken in US will have an impact on Canada. Programs such as business program will be also likely restricted because in general, the number of admission will be reduced.
So it seems like like, you know, for the next 4 years, it seems like everything is tougher and like,
Right.
and on every aspect of the immigration into that two countries.
Right, and I think it's a global trend, right? Immigration has been a very hot political issues for the last few years, and now we see politicians getting into power and politicians who have run on anti-immigration policies for many years, and now they are putting in place their policy.
Yeah.
Canada will likely have an election this year, and the current survey shows that it will be a Conservative Party that will be elected, and the Conservative Party also has a policy to reduce temporary workers. So yes, I think that the coming few years will not necessarily be the year of welcoming policies that we have seen in the last 10 years.
And when you say that, like, you know, because like the immigration, like on every levels that for US and Canada, the immigrant is still have like some role in the economic of the countries, right? So nobody can deny it.
True.
Yeah. So I mean that here, just like if like the difficult thing happened and now the politics involved and stuff like that. So I think that's still the door for the immigrants. So because you are one of the most largest immigrant like services provider in Canada. So for you, so from that perspective, what kind of, you know, what is like the most important point that from the like the service provider, also from the investor, that they should looking into to make sure that, you know, it's still the door, so right person can get through.
Right.
So
exactly.
yeah. So what is that could be like the right person here?
Canada, the door is not closed. According to the level adopted by the government, they will still accept nearly 400,000 immigrants, which is about 1% of its population. And this has always been that kind of level. The government had decided to make it even larger amount of admission before, but they came back to an historic 1% admission every year. So it's not like they're closing the door. Eterna as a company is looking at what are the programs that are impactful for Canada, so that these programs will not be the first target of a government, right?
Yeah.
We take a program like the Startup Visa program, which is a program that brings innovation to Canada. This is a program that was put in place by a conservative government that was maintained by the Liberal government. So we believe that this program has significant economic impact on Canada. It creates jobs, it brings innovation in the country. So this is the kind of program that we do not see being overly affected by this new trend in immigration. Temporary worker will be the first target, because temporary workers are accepted in Canada to address a need, but then if the unemployment is increasing, this need will diminish.
Okay, so which means that how say for the like tough period of time, so we need to look at like all of the benefit of the all party involved, which is like from the government, what is the program will bring up the economic impact and helping Canada to, you know, to maintain the strong position. And from us, like the service provider, like consultancy about immigration, we need to say, I mean that, how say that the client will understand logically, right? So when they still keep 1%, but they will be more priority for the program, which is bring a short-term impact to Canada first.
So, absolutely. Just to go back to the Startup Visa program, the government has adopted policies to create a fast track for certain type of startups, those who, as you mentioned, brings short-term economic impact to Canada. So we're talking about cases that are supported by venture capital funds, by angel investors funds, as well as a certain type of incubator funds. They will benefit from a fast processing that we evaluate between 12 to 18 months because the government wants those companies to develop in Canada quicker. So yes, most definitely. And then in terms of skilled workers, there will be a more targeted identification of the type of employees that will be accepted in Canada.
So for like, do you have any information of which kind of like target worker now that the government is looking for?
But you look at what are the sectors of the economy that suffers from labor shortage, and of course, healthcare, technology, service industry, office workers are in high demand. So these are the sectors where immigrants still have the capacity to get in. What has changed when it comes to worker immigration is the decision made by the government to eliminate the 50 points granted to those who secured job offers in Canada. So those candidates who had those job offers from overseas may not be qualified for permanent residency as quick as they were before. So that also has a big impact on several companies in Vietnam and around the world that put all their focus on employment immigration. This will change substantially.
Yeah, because like I see that is the trend for every country in the world and stuff like that. Before that, when they are in the growth, period of time, so they let a lot of like workers come and things like that, and make it easy for them to stay and live there. But now maybe, I mean that for example like Australia and stuff like that, now it's just like super challenge for any worker to even like very high level, which is super, smart and bring a lot of like effect to the company in Australia, but like to get the PR there is super hard. So maybe nowadays when the people like, if they have high skill and stuff like that, and they do want to experience the international environment and stuff like that, just keep that thinking, like, okay, I got the work permit, I go there, I work, I experience myself, and then I need to prepare that I need to get back to my country or move to others, like, So that is what I see, and because like when we doing this immigration and stuff like that, so our vision is just like, first of all, like one, to help client to settle for the better future. So better future is not necessarily like you need to move there and live there and like forever, right? So that is two things, that if you are sustainable about finance and you want the very, very safe options, go with like investor, like startup visa or open the business there, and that is what the government welcome for now, and they can like settle out the family and future of the kid there. But if you are young and like you don't have too much money, so you need to be like good and like well prepared for moving and like experience your young life.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right, but I mean this is a trend now. No one knows how long this trend will last. The bottom line is that Western countries have demographic issues. These are aging population, and immigration is a very important part of the solution. So there will be, I believe, a return of a more normal situation. But now we just have to wait and see, and focus on program that basically is not controversial, is not the target of politicians, and really bring impact to the local economy of the countries such as Canada, US. Right? So as far as we're concerned, we're focusing, as you mentioned, on business immigration, such as the startup visa program, EB5, and some of the European investment program, because the result is tangible. The population in those countries can see the positive impact, and then
and how I say that, I just want to know that when you you have many experience with Vietnamese client. So what is you see their their expectation and what is changing recently?
Well, there's no guarantee in life anymore.
Yeah.
It was easier before to tell the beginning and the end of the story to a client. Now we need to, from the beginning, show them the different outcome that an immigration application will take place. Our role is, of course, trying to get the best and safest option to them, but it's, I think, very important to be fair and straight with them about the more limited option that they have in front of them now.
Yeah. So I got some sharing from client that that the KL term of Trump could help them when the investor, they will say that KL own the challenging, also the opportunity. So some of my clients that say that, okay, if I can get into Canada and US soon enough, right? So during the KL, that now is the change, it's the time for them to start. And when the KL, almost go down, it's going to be opportunity there.
Yeah.
And still, for the Asia people, they still not very high, asset net worth as in the Western country, but for the middle level, they are quite sustainable on finance capital.
Yep.
So which is they see that is the opportunity for the have a good investment in US and Canada, a kind of end of Trump
True.
selection.
True.
So it's just I don't know, but you are not just immigration, you are investor also yourself. So what do you think about that?
Well, there's an amazing opportunities in US as well as in Canada, and as you mentioned, chaos brings opportunity, crisis brings opportunities, and as a person who wants to immigrate to Canada, US, Europe, the reason why they want to immigrate did not disappear with Trump. The need to provide the best education to the kids still remains. The need to secure a plan B if something goes not according to the plan still remains. And those countries remain an haven of stability despite what we see in the newspaper. Canada, US, Europe are still very stable countries. So this doesn't change. So the demand from Asia, from Vietnam, I don't see it as reducing, even if the uncertainty of Trump exists and will exist for the next 4 years, the demand will not diminish.
Oh, okay. So I guess that now is the time that even Trump will bring up a lot of challenge, but he also bring up a lot of opportunity, specifically for the I think for the investor perspective.
But yeah, you have a businessman as a president, and so basically every business-related immigration program should benefit from that kind of transactional approach of everything, right?
Yeah, and the question is not related to the program that we are working together, but now, recently I heard a lot about mistake of IRCIC on processing the case and stuff like that, specifically for entrepreneur program and stuff like that. So do you have any?
But it's hard to say, but I heard a lot about decisions that were very quick to be rendered by IRCC. I've read lawyers talking about their bad experience with them. I know that they are using some AI tools internally to be able to quicken the processing of the application. Are these tools completely good? The question is there, right? Because we've seen decision from people, and obviously a human being did not spend a lot of time reviewing the case. So we heard of explosion of judicial review to appeal decisions rendered by RCC. But I think, of course, the usage of AI tools by the government is a good thing, but I think there still need to be some progress to be made to make that tool very effective.
Oh, okay. So I hope really that they can be made more efficient, because lately we got some requests, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the request does not make any sense, because they request some document for this program, but it's not exist. Actually, it's for other program.
That's right.
It's so funny to see.
Yeah. There's a need for a human to look at the case before we write to the clients, and I'm not sure if this is the case in every applications, or whether the system will automatically send requests to the client. So I still believe that there's a need for an officer, an actual human officer, to look at the case before it's being sent to the client.
Okay, so this is something that I heard from the friends of my client, that they are they do the SUV stuff, but then they was spend bunch of money to they got the review from the IRCIC, and then they need to, because they do it with some of the company lawyer in Canada, and they just help them to get the work permit to come there, and they need to remain the business there, and it took very long, and every single time that they got the request from the government, they need to maintain, and sometimes it's just they are under the very uncertainty situation, and the economic now in Canada is not that good, and I don't know is the right information or right number or not, but they say that they spend more than almost 600 or 700 thousand Canadian dollar into their investor into their business, and it's been 5 years.
Wow.
And they still not getting the
The startup visa is not the cheapest program. A startup by definition involves investment in the development of a product. So the startup that really want to show progress must do a minimum investment in time or in money, right? So I'm not surprised. We haven't seen cases lasting 5 years. However, a case lasting 5 years will require investment in time and in money by the client. That's for sure.
Yeah, but the thing that I heard, that they say that because when they move to Canada, they do not have the full picture of what is the business there, and then when someone offer them the service and stuff like that, and then they come and they just not really actively or doing things, and they just follow the structure of that person, and it seemed like that person is not really a business, the good business partner and stuff like that.
But RCC issued a report in December 23 about the startup visa, and one of the aspects was immigration consultant or immigration lawyers offering services related to the development of the business. I believe that a startup has the right to hire a third party to help them. I hire a third party to help me in my business too. So that's totally normal, but the client must hire people who know what they're doing. That's important, otherwise it's spending money for nothing. Right? Because at the end of the day, you need to show progress in the development of your business. That's important for RCC. So you have to hire people with track record to be able to give you the right advice, at least. That's one aspect. But the second is something that people forget. This is an active program. The client needs to be active at every step of the way. So there's no shortcut. You cannot just throw money at someone and expect to be completely passive. This is not a passive investment program.
Okay. So I think that the most important message today that you can send to the Vietnamese entrepreneur and investor, that you need to this is not the chaos, and as people, they are worried. There's so many bad news on the market and stuff like that. On Trump is not gonna cost close the door or stuff like that.
But Trump, no Trump, there is a truth that remains, and it has remained for the nearly 20 years that I've been in this business. If you want to immigrate, it's never a good idea to wait, because you never know. These are governmental run programs. These programs by nature change with time. The way the government is deciding on cases also change, so it's a moving target. So if ever you know that you want to immigrate, you know that you qualified today to this program, well, it's never a good idea to wait.
Yeah. Okay. So I just today I just want to address the thing that now I see that a lot of investors in Vietnam to worry that because Trump is bring up a lot of problem right now, so maybe that the government will focus on the trade war, so they will be abandon the immigrant program, so it's just make that is so difficult and stuff like that, but it seems it's not the case.
No, but we, every program, with time, it becomes tougher. So a startup visa applicant that submitted the application 5 years ago probably had an easier time than someone who will submit it today. So it's important to get the right advice, the right support, because by nature, a program never becomes more easy with time.
Yeah. That is exactly how I see on the market, and this is what I'm trying to tell to the client, because nowadays I see the trend of a lot of people, they open the immigrant service, and to be honest, just for the program, they need to know that the government get more and more knowledge about the case, about the application, about the country from where the applicant come from, and that's not the case, which is if you don't have the record of experience, so you cannot, because as you say, that we need to guess what the government want to see from us, right?
It's a mix of things, because a company like Columbus, you guys have processed many cases, and you have many cases in the pipeline. So you will receive a decision from the Canadian government about one of your case that will allow you to adjust your procedure for your next case. When you are dealing with a consultant that does one case per year, or even one case per 2 years, the client doesn't have the benefit of this, what I call institutional memory, right? Where you are benefiting from all the learning that the consultant has made with previous clients, right? So this is important for a client to choose an experienced consultant. Eterna is only working with well-established consultants around the world because of that, because we know that they will tell the client what are the risks of that program, what are the conditions, and if ever there are changes, they will inform the client immediately.
Okay, so I think that is just I tell that when the things getting tougher, so you know who is the real player.
Right, exactly.
So even when now that the door is a bit closer, but so the most important to the investor and entrepreneur Vietnamese investor, that choose the right partner and choose the right program where, first of all, can help you to go through that door, and the second of all, you get the opportunity of that period of time. So where I think that, as you say, that when the government priority for the startup visa, business visa, for example, that they will have the better processing time, and recently I see that just received the K, got the visa required after year and a half.
Correct.
Even the startup visa processing is 40 months now.
39 months. Well, the government had a meeting with designated organization in the last few weeks, and this is the they feel that it's unacceptable. Those delays are too long, and it's their priority to reduce those delays. And they have identified cases that will be processed quicker because they feel that these are cases that will bring more impact to Canada.
Yeah. So what kind of like what is like standard of like what is could be priority? So
they spelled it out. So basically, these are cases that receive a letter of support from venture capital funds, angel investor groups, or business incubator that are either member of the Canadian Tech Network or incubator that agrees to commit $75,000 in the company, right? So these are the 4 categories of designated organization that will benefit from priority processing. The rest, regular business incubator, now we believe that they will continue to be processed under the current processing delay, which is 39 months now, but they will be put probably at the end of the line.
Yeah, so which means that 39 is like the average process.
The average, yeah.
So which means that if they have the priority, which is like year and a half of stop, and then like the general processing gonna be like longer than.
But it's difficult. It's always difficult to anticipate. We look at the inventories of startup visa cases. Then the last time that I had access to recent information, I think they had like 29,000 visas pending right now. That was in 24, January. But of course, since then, a lot of cases were processed by the government, but also a lot of cases were submitted. Just remember when they established the quota system, a lot of designated organizations turned on their printer and they printed tons of letter of support on April 29, April 30. So of course, these are a lot of cases. I think that the government knows that there were some sort of a frenzy, and I feel that those cases will be treated a little bit more differently than regular cases. So, I think 5 years for regular incubator in that context and based on the inventory is something reasonable.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that is all the context today that I want to discuss with you, and what is like from the professional point of view, what is like the advice you want to bring to the investor and Vietnamese investor who want to immigrate to Canada right now?
Well, look at the program itself. Look at the discussions in Canada about that program. Is it discussion that is positive or discussion that is negative? You can look at what the government says about this program, what the opposition party says about this program, and this way you will be able to anticipate a little bit better where you're going to. So if you're qualified for a program and the program exists today, well, go meet a consultant in Vietnam, go get your advice, and don't waste your time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully that today we send out some message to people who are searching for the opportunity to Canada. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.